I'm Dr. Binu. In underground cable engineering is the elective subject for the fifth semester triple students for the regulation. The core objectives of the underground cable engineering are understanding power cable characteristics and applications, cable manufacturing concept, installation of underground power cables, underground cable system faults locating, testing and maintenance of underground cable system, cable performance and field assessment of power cables. It consists of 5 units. The first unit is introduction to electrical power cables. Second unit is cable architecture, dielectric theory and cable characteristics. Third unit is supply distribution systems and cables. Fourth unit is transmission system cables. Fifth unit is cable installation, testing and maintenance. It consists of several skill development activities. These are listed here. The course outcomes are ability to understand the fundamental of underground cable system. The second CFO is ability to gain knowledge on architecture of underground cable and physical technical characteristics of the ability to understand the types of cable using distribution system, ability to acquire knowledge on cables used in transmission system, ability to understand the cable installation procedure and practices. The textbook follows will to electrical power cable. Second one is GFO. Several references are also there. These are listed here. The first unit consists of the first unit is actually introduction to electrical power cables. It consists of several subtopics: development of cables, lighting, distribution of lighting, paper insulated cables, residential distribution system, and medium voltage cable types. These are the varieties of cables which is used in cable engineering. We have to, at the end of the course, we have to the student have to identify the varieties of cables. The first topic is introduction to underground cables. Electric power can be distributed by underground cables. There are varieties of advantages are there for the underground cables, which is less liable to damage through storms and lightning. Maintenance cost is very less. Chances of faults are very less. Voltage regulation is better. Good general appearance. Definition of a cable. An underground cable essentially consists of one or more conductors which are covered with suitable insulation surrounded by a protecting cover. The elevation and the end view of the conductor is represented in this. There are varieties of definitions are there. In a simple way, a cable can be seen as a combination of conductor, insulator, and protective cover. Each and every underground cable should have some requirements. The first one is the conductor used in cable should be copper or aluminum. The second requirement is conductor must be stranded and thin. Third requirement is conductor size should be such that the cable carries the desired current. And the next one is cable should cause voltage drop within permissible limit. Then the next points are cable must have proper thickness of insulation to give high degree of safety. Then cable must be provided with suitable mechanical protection. Materials of a cable must be free from chemical and physical. Each and every underground cables used some insulation materials. The properties of insulation materials are high insulation resistance to avoid leakage current, then high electric strength to avoid electrical breakdown. The insulation materials should have good mechanical strength to have flexibility. The insulation materials used for the underground cable should have low coefficient of thermal expansion. Then the insulation material should non-inflammable. Then the permittivity of the insulation material should be very less. They should be immune from acid and alkalines. Then non-hydroscopic. What is the meaning is it should not absorb moisture. The power factor of the insulated material is very less. Then cost should be economic. Some of the most commonly used insulation materials which are used in underground cables are impregnated paper, polyvinyl chloride, puddle rubber, polythene, cross-linked polyethylene. We can compare the overhead lines and underground cables with respect to various aspects. The first one is place of use. Second parameter is cost of installation. Third parameter is a requirement of towers. Fourth one is spacing between conductors. Fifth one charging current. Sixth one cross section. Seventh one insulation requirement. Eighth one safety. Ninth one appearance. 10th one voltage regulation. 11th one radio interference. 12th one chances of fault occurrences. 13th aspect is voltage stress on insulation. 14th one heating. 15th one efficiency. And classification of cables. We can classify the cables based on various parameters. The first one is according to the number of conductors used. The subdivisions are single core cables, two core cables, three core cables, and four core cables. The second classification is based on according to the voltage used in the cables. Low tension cable, high tension cable, super tension cable, extra high tension cable, extra super voltage cables. The third classification is according to the insulation and lead sheeting used in the cables. Belted cables, H-type cables, SL-type cables, HSL type cables. The fourth type classification is based on according to the methods of improving the electric stress. Solid type cables, oil filled type cables, external oil pressure type cables, gas pressure type cables. Then the construction of low voltage cables are classified into two types, single core cables and multi-core cables. The construction of low voltage cable is represented in a diagram. It consists of middle core. Then the next layer is insulation, which is normally used in impregnated paper. The next layer is metallic sheet. The outer layer is serving. Normally, jute material is acting as a serve. These are the explanations about the construction of low voltage cable. Normally, low voltage cables are used for the voltages up to 1 kilovolt. It consists of only one circular core. Normally, the core is made up of tinned stranded copper or aluminum. Impregnated paper layers are used as insulation. Lead sheet is provided around the insulation to protect from moisture. Normally, serving is done by means of the jute material. The advantages of single core cable. It is very simple in construction. The electrostatic stresses developed in low voltage cables are very less. Large conductor cross section is available. Construction of multi-core cables are represented here. The diagram represents three core cables. Actually, they are normally used for voltages up to 6.6 kilovolt. They consist of either circular cores or shaped cores. The core is made up of tinned stranded copper or aluminum. Here also impregnated paper layers are used as insulation. Paper belts are normally used around for insulation. A lead sheet is provided around the insulation to protect it from moisture. Around the lead sheet, jute is provided to protect it from corrosion and mechanical injuries. Galvanized steel wire is provided as armoring. Fibrous materials like jute is provided around the armoring as serving to avoid corrosion. There are varieties of advantages are there for a multi-core cable. A single multi-core cable can be used as replacement for the group of single core cables. The cost of installation is low when compared with single cables installation. Then the next variety is construction of HT cables. HT cables have a belt of insulation around the core group. HT cables are generally called as belted cables. The construction of HT belted cable is represented in the diagram. Normally used for voltages up to 11 kilovolt. It consists of group of circular cores. The gap between the insulated cores is filled with tubes so as to give circular cross section to the cables. Lead sheet is covered with a layer of galvanized steel wire as armory. Construction of ST cables. The ST cables can be again classified into three types: H type cable, SL type cables, and HSL type cables. The construction of H cable is represented in the diagram. Normally, the H cables are used for voltage up to 33 kilovolt. The cores are laid in such a way that metallic screens make contact with each other. Then the cable has no insulating belt. All the core sections and the conducting belt are kept at the earth potential. Advantages of H-type cable. The perforations in the metallic screen will give complete impregnation to the cable to avoid entry of metallic screens increase the heat dissipating capacity of the cables. The second variety is SL type cable. The construction is represented in the diagram. Normally, SL cables are used for the voltages up to 66 kilovolt. Each core can be treated as a separate single core cables. In this type of cables, there is no overall lead sheet, only armoring and serving are provided. Advantages of SL cable. It reduces the core to core breakdown due to the use of separate sheet. Oil leakages are very less. Then the next variety is construction of HSL cable. Construction is represented in this diagram. Normally, this type is a combination of both the H and the SL types of cables. In this type of cables, each core is rounded with impregnated paper, metallic paper screen, and separated lead sheet. The cores are provided with the filler, bedding, armoring, and a serve. The power cable is an assembly of two or more electrical conductors, usually held together with an overall sheet. The assembly is used for transmission of electrical power. Power cables may be installed as a permanent wiring within building, buried in the ground, run overhead, or exposed. Flexible power cables are used for portable devices, mobile tools, and machines. There are general construction of cables. The construction of cable consists of varieties of layers. The first one is conductor, which is also called core, insulation, metallic sheet, welding, armoring, and silk. These are the types of cables: low tension cables, HT cables, then belted cables, screened type cables. It consists of two types, H type and SL type. Construction of H type cables, construction of SL type cables. The advantages of SL type cables. ST cables. It will be looks like in this format. Oil filled cables. The construction of oil filled cables are represented here. The advantages as well as drawbacks of oil filled cables are represented here. The next type is gas pressure cables. Inert gas like N at high pressure is introduced, lead sheet and dielectric. The advantages and the drawbacks of oil filled cables. In development of underground cables. The cable may one or more than one core or conductors are there depending upon the type of service for which it is intended. The construction of cable is represented here. It consists of one or more conductor or core, then paper insulation, then lead sheet. After that, it has a bedding, then armoring and insulation is used to provide in order to um, provide the protection. The commonly used insulation materials are impregnated paper, varnished cambric or rubber mineral compound, metallic sheet, which is used to protect the cable from moisture, bedding, which consists of fibrous materials like jute or hessian tape. The purpose of bedding is to protect the metallic sheet against corrosion and from mechanical injury due to armoring. What is armoring? Armoring is provided, which consists of 1 or 2 layers of galvanized steel wire or steel tape. Armoring may not be done in case of some of the cables. What is meant by serving? Serving is to protect the armoring from atmospheric conditions. A layer of fibrous materials like jute, similar to bedding, is provided over the armoring. This is known as the insulating materials which are used for the underground cables consist of several properties. These are the properties of insulating